Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Global Industry Spotlight. My name is Daniel Crane, and I am the Program Director of the Center for Creative Entrepreneurship. And you are listening to Global Industry Spotlight, a conversational series focused on providing resources and insight for the creative entrepreneur. We are here to connect with you, network, and discuss business and all things creative entrepreneurship. We are streaming live out of the Comcast Business Startup Studio, a room designed for Chicago's small business community located at 2112, Chicago's first music, film, and tech incubator. Upcoming event, a new professional development music series, The Music Bloom, on Tuesday, June 13th at Golden Dagger. We will have experts talk about new revenue streams and strategies. You will hear performances, network, and the most important, gain free access to our ccelearn.org platform. The ccelearn.org platform was developed in a course of a year and a half. It contains 11 music business topics, 67 classes, and 200 plus articles, one-on-one mentorship from our industry experts, and more. The first 25 registered participants at the event will get free access to the platform. So go to cceglobal.org to register and learn more. It's going to be a very exciting beginning of a series of touring neighborhoods in Chicago. So we're going to produce this professional development music event all over the city. So please go to our website and check that out. So today, this Global Industry Spotlight is on Aga Samitowska, a music business professional and Web3 consultant, passionate about new technologies in the creative industry. For nearly a decade, was related with Kayax, an independent record label based in Warsaw. As a head of digital distribution, she was responsible for modernizing distribution in response to the dynamic development of streaming platforms. She's also manager of major Polish artists, Brodka and Nosowska, initiator of My Name is the New Incubator for Young Talents. She also pursued her curiosity for new technologies in San Francisco, California, working for the venture capital fund 50 years. Today, Aga focuses on Web3 space, offering training and advisory for projects operating on the intersection of Web3 and the creative industry. She gave her first talk on blockchain and music in 2017. I'm really excited to bring her into the conversation. Hi, Aga.
Hello.
Well, thank you for joining us today. I want to tell everyone that Aga and I met at South by Southwest, I think on a rooftop listening to some music, which I think is a great way to have an introduction to somebody. And Aga's also connected with some of our with Turo, who's a friend from Music Finland, and so it's just really great to have you here on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to be talking to Chicago in this evening,
Exactly.
Warsaw.
Right.
Warsaw,
Right. Yeah, there's a big Chicago, Polish connection. Absolutely. So I'd love to just get a little background, right? So, it sounds like from, your bio, and when we talked a lot about Web3, but I didn't realize too that, you also have a music background. So can you talk a little bit about, how your music background kind of led into developing and working in the Web3 space?
Yeah, for sure. Basically, many things that I would like to mention has already been said in the intro, but to kind of extend it a little bit, I've worked in a regular music business for over 10 years now. This was my primer and professional career. Prior to that, I did a little bit in marketing in general. The most of my expertise is in music business, and as you mentioned, I got involved with an independent record label here in Poland, which is called Kayax. But it's not only a label, but it's also a management and publishing. So it enabled for me to touch most aspects from the music business, right? Because working with this company allowed me to lead everything that around artist activities, right? Like producing an album, booking concerts, working on promotion, and uh, brand partnerships and also publishing, and so basically, all types of what music business means, and
Yeah.
also. I don't know why, but I've always been attracted to innovation and new technology, and the new shiny opportunities and things that are still in the realm of unknown. So it was also very intuitive and natural for me to step into the digital distribution department and actually leading it towards better synchronization with the digital distribution revolution that was happening at that time, because it
Hmm.
was around so Spotify hadn't entered Poland before 2013, as far as I remember. So I remember perfectly the time where the company and the label was kind of struggling to figure it out. Like, okay, is this another internet radio, or is
Right.
this something more than this? So yeah, I kind of have always been on the front row of innovation and with a lot of curiosity of what's next.
Yeah, and I think this is a really interesting, just to focus on digital distribution.
Yeah.
So did Poland have, or Europe have, kind of indie smaller digital distribution channels before, like, the big Spotify or Apple Music kind of came in? Um, yeah, I'm just curious, 'cause I know that for some other countries they kind of had their services that were more localized, I guess,
Mhm.
but we're still thriving.
Yeah, so we also had some like digital aggregators
Hmm.
and platforms that would offer yeah, like streaming or more downloads at the time,
Hmm.
or also I'm not sure how you call it in English, but the music that you hear in your phone while waiting for a call.
Yeah, yeah. Ringtone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, ringtone. So yeah, ringtone. So yeah, this perfectly also shows the evolution, how I
Yeah,
even forgot how ringtone was called, but
yeah,
back at the time it was a big thing. Definitely
yeah.
was a big thing, and there was a one main aggregator. Yeah, very like forward-thinking company that would take care of all this kind of assets here in our Polish local market. So I
Hmm.
would say that, and also several of those platforms were kind of connected, were in partnership with telecoms.
Right, right.
So, for
Absolutely.
example, while signing a contract with a specific telecom, you would automatically get access to this and that app that allowed you to, listen to stream music or download. Yeah, so we kind of were already introduced, but yeah, for sure, ringtone was like the main thing that you would think, and
Hmm.
obviously downloads,
Right.
based on the examples that iTunes gave right back in the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. And so in your 10 years of being in the music industry and working on different sides of it, like you were saying, publishing, marketing, releasing label, what were some of the technology pieces that entered into the music industry that you just saw change everything during your time?
Hmm. Well, for sure, streaming.
Right.
This is something that, yeah, I definitely witnessed how the physical sales dropped dramatically, and also, as I mentioned, it was kind of a disturbing moment for labels to yeah, they were struggling to understand like how to treat it. They like at the beginning it wasn't perfectly clear that this was another, you know, like main revenue stream. And also for artists, it was challenging to. It was definitely a learning, like a steep learning curve. While trying to comprehend how the heck, you know, the music that they've put so much work into and financial investment is now widely accessible online through all these different platforms, and that it gets released on the same day that the physical album is released. So I definitely remember the times when we would do like first, you know, physical release, and then like months later the streaming, which yeah, gradually like needed to go because like users were and fans were really annoyed.
Right.
And another innovation is definitely social media, how it impacted the communication with your fan base, and also how it impacted the creativity process. Because I perfectly remember how algorithms of those different platforms would change. So, you know, now from all of the sudden, like it's best that all of your it's best to attach a photo to your post, and then they would prioritize video, and now they prioritize like a TikTok like
Yeah, real. Yeah, everything's real.
reels,
Yeah.
exactly, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I vividly remember, you know, discussions with my artists about this, like, hey, now you need to change the way you communicate with the outside world, and
Right.
now you'll be a video producer and then photographer, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it definitely impacted the communication.
right. And I feel like for a lot of people, I mean, you have to if you want to maintain a career, but it's not necessarily natural to be a videographer and to be able to produce so much media, right? I feel like at this point, to be a successful musician or even to market yourself in a you know, in a good way, you need to almost be a media company to be able to, you know, access fans and sponsorship and stuff like that. But I could go on and on about that, but I also want to hear about this. Okay, so I'm in the music industry for 10 years, and then I go to California to join a venture capital. Just talk about, you know, that experience and what you learned there, what you were doing. I would love to hear all about that.
For sure, yeah. So the experience and the whole adventure I had in California was amazing. It was surprisingly, it wasn't really tied to entertainment nor music
Mm-hmm.
business. It was more about impact tech, and so everything around like yeah, solutions for making the world a better place. But anyways, well, it was very inspiring to, you know, to see how the investment process looks like, and how like, you know, the best entrepreneurs of this world think. And actually it's a good segue um, to mention how this mindset impacts artists, and my experience with California and Silicon Valley definitely facilitated how I understand. Definitely helped me to understand, you know, actions of several some Web3 native artists.
Mm,
Like for example, there is an artist named Daniel Allen, whom I really like to follow. He's LA-based, but with a Ukrainian origin,
mm-hmm.
and he is one of the examples of the success stories in Web3. How he started from, you know, the bedroom producer, but really got into exploring Web3 solutions in order to, gain a profit that helped him to develop better his career. And he also is known for raising a seed round of $1 million to back his career as a creator, and I really like this concept. Like, to
Wow,
me, it's a
that's incredible.
to me, it's a very entrepreneur
Hmm.
approach, and also it's really relevant with a modern with a definition of a modern creator, right? That's
Right. It's really interesting.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, because he explains that, hey, well, I do music right now, but maybe, I'll do like a clothing line with one of the brands, or maybe I'll be acting or whatever other activity, and you as investors can participate in the also in the value that I will create as a creator, whatever form of
Yeah.
expression it is, right?
You bring up a really interesting point, which I have not thought about, is that, like, what is the new, and I mentioned it earlier of, oh, like, you're not just a musician anymore, you need to be like a media company. And now what you're
Mm.
saying is like, okay, um, you know, Daniel is saying, fund me. I'm not just making music. Like, I could get into this space and that space. And what does the new uh, creative entrepreneur or creator look like, right? I mean, they're probably multifaceted, able to, create different types of content. Even with, all the new music tools, making music is becoming so much easier and
Mm.
accessible. So it's interesting thinking about these kind of solopreneur people who are creating incredible content and being funded by, being funded as a startup. I mean, that's just like, that's completely
Yeah.
wild. So I'm going to back up a little bit and ask you, when you say he used Web3 solutions, can you tell us what that means?
Of course. So those are mainly tools that allow you to market your content or your creation, whatever you do, but while kind of first of all, preserving all of the rights. So because in current like a regular Web 2 music industry, a business model, what's most frequent is that artists need to, grant their rights to their creation, to their records, to their music, to other companies that take care of promoting and distributing it, and then artists would kind of get back just a percentage of this revenue earned, right? And Web3 tools are about enabling artists to still market stuff, but while being able to keep all the rights. And also it is kind of in a contrast to streaming platforms, where you would gain your revenue in very small portions during a longer period of time, you as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
While, for example, by selling a music NFT, it is a similar marketing strategy to what we would have previously with physical products or like CDs that you sell. You sell access or
Right.
uh, like similarly to CD, right, or like to any other physical. So you get like a higher revenue from the beginning, from the start. It's not divided into the smaller portions as streaming offers currently. So yeah, and also what is super important to mention is that NFTs and Web3 tools enable you to kind of tag your community, because then it's easier to communicate to your community that, hey, all of the holders of this and that specific NFT have the specific perks or benefits, or like limited benefits that are curated only for my community.
And the communication, and we could talk about all this stuff for a long time, but
Of course.
I have so many. I know it's like I have so many questions, but I'm curious about this community piece. So most of the people who use Web3 are communicating on Web2, correct? Or are there specifically like native communication tools in Web3?
Okay, so I know that there is work put into kind of Web3 communicators that are connected in a better way to Web3 projects. But yeah, for now, definitely Web2 spaces are the place where mostly communication happens. So in States, it's definitely Twitter, or I would say probably generally in across the world, it's Twitter. Sorry, it's my cat bumping into the
That's fine.
laptop.
And we have a new
He has
guest. We have
something. He has
a new
something to
guest in the
say.
podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely Discord is also the place where
Right.
Web3 people communicate. However, like I hate to
Right.
mention it because it's super it's a high entry barrier to entry, right? Too many. But anyways, in my opinion, like what I like about community around Web3 is that it kind of doesn't matter how you communicate with them, because usually it's not too big of a group.
Right.
So it's kind of easy to maintain it even on your WhatsApp group or wherever.
Yeah.
And also, these are the people whom you can call super fans.
Right.
And an additional incentive that the community looks for while buying NFTs that enable this special benefits is this direct connection with artists. There is
Which
a very interesting report on this from Modern Music.
Right.
I bet it's you all know it. It's called the fan journey and in Web3, something like that. Sorry, I'm not citing it correctly,
Right.
but you'll find it for sure. And yeah, they made a really interesting series of interviews with fans who actually, purchase NFTs, and especially, in order to find an answer to the question, like, what is the main thing you look while purchasing this kind of products, like, or digital assets. So yeah, as I mentioned, the deeper and direct connection with the artists they admire, they follow, is actually the key.
Yeah. And so, okay, so now you're in Silicon Valley, you've kind of seen the investment space, you get tapped into to Web3, and then you start your own company. Talk to us a little bit about Who Cares Media, and what you guys are working on.
Sure. Yeah, so as you mentioned in the intro, I did my first talk on blockchain in music back in 2017, and that was the times that I was still like deep in the record label thingy, but somehow after hours I would just read and go to various conferences, like tech conferences, in order to learn about this new thing that I heard a lot around. And so together with the hype, in 20/21 happened, like the hype around NFTs, which obviously like there could be a lot of criticism around this time. But anyways, like this made me realize that okay, this is really happening, right?
Right.
So the things that I was that I've been bragging about for years now is actually entering the phase that is starting to mean something in the industry. And I felt the difference, how people would actually, approach me, asking like, hey, we remember that this weird blockchain stuff you talked about like this several years back, like, okay, so now we actually want to learn.
Right. Right.
And
Right. Yeah. It's funny. I mean, that's how it is,
okay,
though. Yeah. That's so
yeah.
funny.
So could you repeat?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just so that was the primer incentive that got me into thinking, okay, maybe like this is a good moment for me
Hmm.
to dedicate myself 100% into this space, and just and also I needed a change, needed a space to grow, and obviously like new challenge, and was looking forward to new challenges. So I decided to start this Web3 consulting, as I call it today. I don't know, to what will it merge in the future. But anyways, my primary focus is to assist startups that do Web3 solutions, aiming music industry, and also the other way around, assist music industry, institutions, companies, artists, in order to kind of help them to get involved within music, within Web3 space, if they are interested, obviously, right?
Yeah. And you talked about, some of the advantages of Web3 in terms of direct connection with the fans, being able to cultivate super fans, owning your copyrights, owning your IP, your intellectual property. Can you tell us, if someone were to ask you, Aga, give me 3 opportunity spaces in Web3 that you see right now, for music industry or just creative businesses in general?
You mean like opportunity spaces, like specific platforms, or like
Like,
or like abstract concepts?
well, I don't want to go too abstract, but I want to, I mean, for an artist,
Mhm.
or let's just say for a record label, um, I need to increase revenue.
Mhm.
How does Web3 help me with that?
Right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so definitely, to me, Web3 uh, put on this world a new
Mhm.
type of assets, which means that, like, in my head, when I look at it, when I look at this as a music manager, like, to me, those are just new types of products that I can
Mm,
merchandise, that I can sell,
mhm.
right?
Right.
So this is just the perfect addition to what I already do. And for example, there is an artist called Ray Isla.
Mhm.
She was also at the South by Southwest, and actually it's where I met her, and I'm really amazed what she does, because she perfectly combines the Web3 tools like NFT collections with the storytelling that she normally would do, around her album. So, for example, she does NFT collection and the images of those collections is like literally her collection of her rocks, her collection of rocks. Sorry,
Oh, wow.
because like one of her hobbies is to collect rocks. So she just digitalized it and put it in as an NFT collection. And this is like, hey, well, if you want to collect with me, and like this is my collection, this really goes with my vibe, what I do in real life. And this is just another thing that she sells, while of course giving special benefits for people who buys it, including like unreleased songs and so on and so forth. So this is just a fancy new loyalty program to me, and obviously like you can
Right.
sell this kind of products. Yeah, we can go for ages talking about like like wearables in the
Right.
metaverse,
Right.
and all
Right.
this. If we start talking about games and
Yeah.
metaverse spaces, and it's supernatural to understand that anything you want to do fancy in metaverse, like you would need clothing for your avatar,
Right.
or like special moves for your avatar. These are all new things that you can market and sell,
Yeah.
and actually get new revenue, right?
Yeah.
And definitely like creating a strengthened bond with your community. It also incentivize them to be there with you for longer.
Yeah. And I mean, I also I think fashion is going to be a really fascinating space in the
Mm.
metaverse of people being able to personalize an avatar, personalize their experience. I'm very curious to see kind of I think it's exciting to see how people create in that space. What are some of the common misconceptions that you find with Web3?
Hmm. Yeah, the main and really big one is the misconception that I was actually really struggling to approach,
Hmm.
which is like purchasing NFT doesn't mean that you buy an ownership to the copyrights to the content that it
Right.
represents,
Hmm.
right? So you still copyright regulations are in place, and if you want to buy any type of copyright, like this needs to meet a specific like process, and like if it's not there, then like it didn't happen, right? So
Right.
definitely me myself, like my colleagues, and I also heard in the various podcasts and media that a lot of people were struggling to understand this one thing at the beginning, like
Hmm.
because there's so much shuffling of this expression ownership in the media, that yeah, it kind of confused, in my belief, it kind of confused people. How what does it mean? Like, what does it mean that I can own this song? So is it like is it me now, the author, or like the owner of the like master? Like, what does it mean, right?
That'd be pretty, yeah. No, you don't
Yeah,
own the
but I
master.
know exactly. But I actually came across serious people asking these questions.
Right, right.
So and like me myself, I was asking like, but how should I? And it actually took me a while, talking with various like lawyers
Mhm.
to get across on it. So yeah, it is still possible to buy a piece of copyright on the or some type of license through NFT, but it requires some additional processes, right? Not only like by buying NFT.
Right.
So the one is worth it to highlight. Misconceptions is that NFTs are not only about speculation, are not only about gaining money because of the secondary market.
Mhm.
This is something true for. This is something that was true for the first hype phase. Now we are getting into more regulated and
Right.
balanced market. So NFTs are now currently. More of a tool, yeah, as everything that I described, but not necessarily speculation asset. And
Right.
also it has a lot of it is widely utilized in the backend. So it's not
Mm-hmm.
only the thing that we see, not only the fancy, drawings and
Mm-hmm.
JPEGs, but also it's a specific, piece of tech that tech people would use in the backend of many as an infrastructure to, uh, projects or companies or nets that are approaching, like for example, copyright management tools or things like that. So yeah,
Right.
there
Yeah,
is there is this. No.
yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, well, uh, you've had such an interesting career. I mean, I just love this like music label, digital distribution, and then 180, which is very connected, but into the VC world and startup world, now into the Web3 space, and developing yourself as a specialist globally. Um, it's really it was nice to meet you at South by and learn about your work, and also just be able to have somebody who I can say, hey, if I have questions about this, Aga will probably have the answers, or at least know where I should look. Um, with all of these different kind of transitions, how do you deal with doubt about what you're doing, or just fear? You started your own company. Like, how do you kind of process those things?
Oh my God, this is a perfect question. This is a perfect question because, like, I was even thinking of writing a post somewhere, on my profiles, kind of the elaborating more on this. Yeah, because, like, deciding on starting my own thing definitely
Mhm.
made me realize that it's not only, this wonderful freedom that I have and that I can do whatever I want and stuff like that, which is obviously great, but also it comes with a lot of anxiety and
Yeah.
and doubting in yourself every day. And yeah, like you don't have, the team that you had previously that kind of supported you, and yeah, now you are kind of, yeah, by yourself. And even if you build a team, like still you are the lead, and still like you decide and yeah, have the whole responsibility on making decisions, right? So yeah, it's definitely an amazing learning curve.
Yeah.
And but I'm happy that I entered this path because I've learned about myself so much.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, I feel that this is the way you grow and become a better person. Also, it's a very humbling, very humbling process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs talk about how it sounds really exciting, and then they get into it and they're like, this is great, but also there's a ton of anxiety, and you probably have a small team or no team,
Mhm.
and there's a lot of responsibility on you to generate a living, right? Without kind of the support of a full team. um, and yeah, doubting yourself every day. I can relate to that. I think we should talk
Mhm.
about that more. The
Agreed.
pressures of starting our own businesses or our own ventures, and what we have to go through, um, to kind of just be able to live a healthy life, while we're
Mhm.
while we're building our business, if that exists, if you
Yeah,
can do that.
yeah. I totally relate to that. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so do you have a book, podcast, movie, newsletter, something that inspires you professionally, personally,
Hmm.
whether or a song or an album, or something that kind of helps you?
Sure. So, just yeah, I have a podcast just on the top of my mind. The podcast is called Mint, and it's led by Adam Levy.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I've heard
I
of it.
really like it because he invites mainly founders,
Mm,
so founders from the Web3 space. So it's not, like random people talking about Web3, but
right.
actually people who built something. And it's usually not only, like a deep professional talk, but also I feel that he engages them in diving deeper into like what was the your initial inspiration.
Right.
So things like that, like they usually talk about the whole journey. So yeah, definitely I love to follow and listen to those episodes also because of the professional decision, not only in Web3 space, but also how to treat the company that you've just started, like how to go through the process and learn from others, like what were their mistakes, how they dealt with it. And also, as the Web3 space is so young, all of the founders are also, like most of those companies have like only 3 or 2 or 4 years um, history, right? So
Mhm.
they're still young, and I can relate to. I can relate better to experience that these people go through.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely. So we like to put up suggestions for our community of what people on the Global Industry Spotlight use. So we'll definitely push Mint and check that out. That sounds like a great podcast. I'm definitely going to look that up. Well, Aga, thank you so much for joining us today from Warsaw, Poland. It was great to meet you at South by Southwest. It's good to be connected and have you a part of the network. And I mean, I definitely think we know a lot of the same people and then are in the same circles. So, we'll definitely see each other in person. I'm sure soon at some point. But again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. I really feel honored to be invited. Thank you so much.
Wow, what a great conversation with Aga about Web3 tools, her journey. She just has a wealth of knowledge. I'll put below too um, just her LinkedIn and who cares media. Check out what she's building. And I think there's a lot of opportunity spaces to, improve, as she said, assets. There's just a lot there. And it's an exciting space. It's a new space for people to explore and learn how they can utilize it to connect with fans, build cool tools, and grow their business. Again, my name is Daniel Crane. You've been listening to Global Industry Spotlight, a conversational series focused on providing resources and insight for the creative entrepreneur. We are streaming out of the Comcast Business Startup Studio located at 2112, Chicago's first music and film tech incubator. Thank you to Comcast Business and Shure for providing the tools necessary to make our programming possible. Visit cceglobal.org to register for free workshops. Find us on Instagram and Facebook, and come check out our event on June 13th. We are super excited about producing this kind of neighborhood tour to give artists tools and teach them about new revenue streams and introduce them to new networks. So wishing you all a wonderful end to your week, wherever you are. Stay safe, and we will chat with you soon. Take care.